Check, 1, 2, 3, check, check, check. Check, getting everything ready. All right. I'm excited about this. Hello. What's up, everybody? Getting ready to do the show. You ready? I'm ready. Let's go ahead and start this thing. All right, welcome to this edition of the Unknown Files show, brought to you by the fine folks at Revelton Distillery, and it's on the Outdoor Call Radio Network. Hope everyone's having a great Wednesday night all across the good old U.S. of A. We're going to have a fun show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about ghosts of Missouri, and especially one place called Pythian Castle. And I'm excited about that. So, you ready to get going? Let me see if I can get our guest on the line. I got Facebook. Hey, Hank and Tony. Good to see everybody on Facebook Live tonight. Yeah, I tell you, I've gotten more compliments at the Iowa Deer Classic last Saturday. Saturday and Sunday, I had probably 50, 60 people come up and said they love listening to the Unknown Files show. So thank you for everybody that's doing that on a weekly basis. So I will, let me see if I can get Melissa on the line here real quick.
Hello.
Melissa, it's Outdoors Dan. We are live on the air. How are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Let me introduce you real quick. Our guest tonight has been interested in the paranormal, but didn't take things serious with investigations till the early 2000s. She's been a guide at Pythian Castle for 5 years, where there's always something odd happening in the building. She's been investigating homes and businesses since 2004. She also has a weekly podcast from Pythian Castle every Sunday called Dark Matter. Let's welcome Melissa Thoreau of Midwest. Miss Melissa Thoreau of Midwest Ghost Hunters. Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Let me say hi to everybody on Facebook Live real quick. I need to say hi to Tony, Hank, Tom, Rick, and his lovely wife, and Hoyt. Good to see you again, everybody. Thank you. So, how'd you get in this mess?
Well, I've lived in Springfield my whole life and always knew about the castle, but I never really knew so much about the haunted aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my best friends said, let's go do an overnight investigation because we offer those. And I said, okay, let's go, because I had never been, and we went. And my first encounter there was in the tunnel that runs underneath the building. And it was an encounter that scared me so much that I went running out of the room, and I sounded like a 5-year-old girl. It just, it startled me, so I ran.
So your very first thing that you've done doing this, just to check something out, was actually the castle?
Yeah.
That's kind of a, usually you go like to a graveyard or you go over to a friend's house and but you went right for the castle. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, sure did.
Well,
and they can't get rid of me.
They can't get rid of you. Let's take a step back. Tell everybody about Pythian Castle. When was that established? And I know it's been through several owners, but can you give a background of the castle for the listeners?
Yeah, so the Knights of Pythias, they're like a fraternal order, so like the Masons, Shriners, Oddfellows. And the castle, they started building it in 1911,
mm-hmm.
and it took them about 2 years. They ended in the winter of 1913, but they thought that was a little too cold for their dedication day. So technically, we kind of used the dedication day of June 1st, 1914, as kind of like their opening whatever day, their dedication day. So on June 1st of this year, the castle will turn 109.
Wow.
109 years old. Yeah.
And it's a pretty big building.
It's 40,000 square feet.
Wow.
It was originally built with 37 rooms, but over the years they've been divided. So I believe there's about 50 rooms in the building now.
Yeah. Now, see, I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, in the St. Louis, Missouri, actually about a small town of Washington, Missouri, about a little bit west of St. Louis.
Yep.
But I've heard of Pythian Castle over the years because I'd go down to Springfield, being a hunting and fishing guy. I always had to go down and check out Bass Pro because
Oh, yes.
that was the home of that was where we went. But I've actually heard of what was the barbecue place down there on? Is it Cherry Stone? What's the main drag down in Springfield? Is it Cherry Stone?
Glenstone?
Glenstone. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been living in Iowa, in Des Moines, for 22 years, Melissa, so I'm starting to forget back home a little bit. But there was a great barbecue place off of Glenstone. What was that? Man, was it Casey Masterpiece?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I was going to say Pappy's, but Pappy's isn't on Glenstone.
No, Pappy's is good. We got a Pappy's in St. Louis. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's the same family, but that's good barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. You know me. I'm always thinking about hunting, fishing, or food. So
Food.
that's all right. So that's a big building. Now, I thought I had heard I heard stories about Pythian Castle. There was a middle-aged couple that bought it. I can't remember their names, but they had as soon as they started remodeling and fixing the place up, they started having encounters with little kids. They were seeing and hearing little kids and some other really creepy stuff that was going on. And that was long. That was, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, there was a family that bought it when the U.S. military decided to get rid of the building. They put it up to a public auction, and only one man showed up to the auction, and he had $3,800 in his pocket.
Wow.
And the government says, "Do you have more money?" So he came up with another $200, and in the early 90s, he bought the castle for $4,000.
Really?
And moved his family in.
Well,
they just treated it like a home.
Was it really bad disarray though?
It wasn't so much when they bought it. There was a guy that had it between them and the current owner, and he kind of let it fall into kind of shambles.
Well, was it at one? And Melissa, correct me. I'm trying to go back off 25 years of memory here, and that's not always good. But was it like an orphanage or a school at one time?
So when the Knights of Pythias had it, they basically built it as a retirement home for their members.
Okay.
And it was also an orphanage during that time.
So the orphanage is where I remember the stories. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of child spirit energy at the building. You hear all kinds of little kid sounds, which is kind of one of the creepier things that goes on.
Hoyt, my buddy Hoyt, and he's on the East Coast. He said $4,000 for a castle. That's a steal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The current owner spent a little bit more than that.
I can't even imagine what that thing's worth now. I mean,
I haven't asked. I won't ask, but I'm sure Google detectives out there could probably look it up and find it.
Absolutely. So what made you scream and run out of the castle?
Well, the steam tunnel, number one, is creepy. It's underground. It's a dead end. And it's dark.
Yeah.
We didn't actually venture into the tunnel. We just stood at the entrance to the tunnel and we were looking. And you pass through the boiler room before you get to the tunnel. So there's this great big giant boiler in there, and there's all these steam pipes that run along the wall. So we were just kind of sitting there hanging out looking, and something bangs on the pipes next to our head.
Really?
And that's what made us run out. Now, later on in the evening, there was a gentleman that came up to us, and he was actually at the opposite end of the tunnel, and he had a video camera rolling. And he said, "Hey, ladies, please, I want you to watch this footage." So we went back and watched it. And we call the gentleman in the tunnel Mr. Boots, because when he walks the tunnel, it sounds like heavy boots going back and forth.
The guy with the camera or the ghost?
We call the ghost Mr. Boots.
Oh, I'm just asking. I just want to make sure
you're fine.
Mr. Boots.
Mr. Boots. So the gentleman with the video camera rolled back the footage, and you hear him say on the camera, Mr. Boots, will you go up and scare the women at the entrance of the tunnel?
No kidding.
And then in about 10 to 15 seconds later, after that, you hear us run and scream and the bangs on the pipes.
That's wild.
So he's kind of one of our famous spirits, because he's one that will do things if you ask him to do it.
So he's an intelligent haunting.
Yes, he's an intelligent spirit.
Okay. So now the couple, going back to what I remember, the couple, I don't know if one of them got sick and passed away, and that's why they sold it. But she got really sick. The wife did, and when she was really sick, they thought part of it was because when they were doing the renovations and everything, a lot of the negative energy and stuff in there was making her really ill. Did you hear that story at all?
I haven't heard that story.
Okay.
But the energy does get stirred up when, like, the renovations and things happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think we have a lot of
negative
things. I think we have some unsettled things, but I don't think we have anything bad.
Okay. Well,
I've never gotten anything really, really bad.
Well, that's good. We like happy ghosts.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So okay, Mr. Boots knocked on the pipes and ran you out. Did you come back that night?
Yep.
Yeah, and then what happened?
Then, I just kind of would occasionally go back and do more investigations, and the group and I got together and we started doing stuff. And then, about 5 years or so ago, I emailed the owner and I said, do you ever need help up here? Because I would love to come and work. And she said yes. And I was like, awesome, count me in. So that's how I came to be at the castle. It's kind of, every time I would leave, I just had this feeling I need to go back. There was this weird draw that I needed to go back to the building.
No, I get that. I get that with hunting. When October gets here, I get drawn to my stand. I totally understand when you have a passion for something. So, real quick now, did you guys, when you were doing your investigations, and did you look into the castle first, or did you just go on a dare and say, let's go to the castle?
We just went.
You just went. Okay.
We just wanted something to do, and now my best friend and I go all over the country to haunted locations.
Yeah,
that's our fun.
Well, no, I think that's awesome. And then how many people are the Midwest Ghost Hunters? That's your group that you have. How many people are in that?
We have 8.
8 of you?
Yep.
And did you start really digging into the nuts and bolts of the castle after that?
I already knew quite a bit kind of before the group started really going to the castle. But, we would go do our podcast, and I remember one of the first times they were there, you could hear things come through the headsets.
Like EVPs or noises?
Yes.
Or
yeah, you could hear voices come through the headsets while we were trying to podcast, and we'd all stop and look at one another like, that wasn't you. That wasn't me. What was that? And that's something I always recommend to people that come to the castle is bring audio, roll audio, because you're going to catch the EVPs.
There you go. Hey, Brock, what's going on? If you got questions for Melissa about the castle, or we're going to ask her about some of the other stuff in Missouri that's going on, just message me right here on Facebook Live, and I will ask her for you. Just be nice. So, what about, did you try to do any EVPs or interactions with targets with balls or anything for the kids to see if you could get anything going there?
Yeah, there's actually there's a room upstairs where, when the orphanage was going on, the little boys' room was upstairs. Little boys and girls were separated.
Uh-huh.
And there's a spirit of a little boy up there named Petey. And people that come on tours will bring toys for him. They'll bring little trucks, little cars. But there's one particular ball in the room that he will play with. And it doesn't roll all the way across the room, but it'll kind of teeter back and forth. I've seen it spin in a circle.
Now, do you do things? Do you try to debunk it and see if it's an airflow thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
some of the members of our group will debunk something until like they almost run it into the ground, which we very much go by more of a scientific aspect going into the paranormal stuff. Like if there's a reasonable explanation for something, we want to try to figure that out, because not everything is a ghost.
Right.
Not everything is paranormal. You know, if we can find a breeze or something to explain something, then we will do that first.
Hey, Paul Kelly, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Chris, good to see you, buddy. Always appreciate. Chris is in New Jersey. Always appreciate you listening. Rick wants to know, could you please spell the name of the castle, please?
Pythian, Pythian.
There you go. And it's on the Facebook Live, Rick. When we get done taping tonight, you'll be able to go. I've got it in the description as well. Well, I've never been into. I've been into a couple places, and this is our 10th show tonight, Melissa, since we launched this. And I told everybody back in St. Louis, I've been to the Lint Mansion. I've been to a really weird. I don't know if you know about the old slave house in Equality, Illinois. That you can't even get into that anymore. But I was there, the Payne Gentry house. I've been to several houses in the Midwest that they're just creepy. And but I always I believe in ghosts because of when I was growing up, my mom and my dad, and my grandparents, they had stuff happen to them, and I know that they never fibbed. They always told the truth. But I've actually had some personal stuff when I bought a house and started renovating it several years ago. I got stuff on video, and I seen stuff that out of the corner of my eye that I wasn't imagining it. I seen it, and so I know that there's something else there. And my wife, she doesn't like me talking about it. Because we're living in a new house now. But she went to get something out of the refrigerator one night, and when she closed the door, she said something, whispered her name in her ear, and she flew. She flew. She kind of got me and said, and she's all white and white in the face, and she goes this, and I said, so I went downstairs and looked. I said, "There's nobody down there, hon." So I said, "Casper, leave her alone." But I mean, I've seen enough to know that I've got a pretty open mind about it. But now I haven't seen now the three things I've got on video. They look like energy ribbons that contract and expand, and they fly right by me when I'm doing the intros for the TV show. I've got it on video, and they're not a bug. I mean, but they come out of the wall and they come up from the ceiling, and I've showed my friends some of that stuff, and and I actually took I don't know if you know anything about hunting or not, but we're always constantly checking the air because we want to keep our scent away from whatever, like the deer or a bear or whatever we're pursuing. We don't want them to smell us. So I'm constantly checking the air streams or the airflows with these little fibers. They look like little, the little the cotton weeds out and you pluck them and they flow on the air like little parachutes. They're little microfibers like that. Actually, after the second and third time that video happened, I took those microfibers and I dropped it from the ceiling down to the floor, and it went straight down. And I did that on both sides. There was no airflow down there because we didn't have a duct, and there was no bugs down there. But I mean, I always try to debunk stuff when I see that stuff. But
I think most reputable, responsible groups will do that.
Yeah, Hoyt wants to know.
That's what they should do.
Hoyt's being a little jovial. He said, "Can ghosts smell us?"
Well, I don't know. Did you shower today?
Oh, she got you there, buddy.
Here's the thing. I'm ornery, so
bring it on.
I can take it.
Oh, he's kind of giving me trouble. He's a good guy, but it's funny. It's like when you go to an intelligent haunting or a residual haunting, it's a different phenomenon, isn't it?
It really is, and that Mr. Boots down there in the steam tunnel. I always like to go back to him. He knows my name, and he has said it before. When I've been down there alone, when we've had a video camera down there, he said my name, and that is something that I will kind of never get over.
Yeah, Hoyt said he's just messing with you.
You right on. Go ahead.
He's ornery too. He said he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Well, if it's an intelligent haunting, I mean, they know you're there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would
Because
think. I mean, here's the thing: we have had people come, and some nights there's nothing that happens.
yeah,
And that's just the way of it. Unfortunately, I don't watch ghost TV shows anymore because I work in a place, and I know that unfortunately most of those shows
or
are
script.
kind of
They're scripted.
they're garbage. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's all right. They're. I agree.
Right.
I agree with you 100%. I can, and they're 100%. They're entertainment. I mean,
They are. They
yeah,
are.
it's
But for some people, they expect that when they go to a haunted location.
well, that's just not reality.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
And you know that. But some people, they come in and they expect to see something walk through the room. And that if I could say, hey, Bob, it's your cue, walk across the stage, that'd be awesome. But that's just not how it works. And, things will be real quiet. And then, like last night, we had a storm come through, and the amount of noises and sounds that were going on in the building, it was kind of like eerie.
Well, now don't they,
Last night.
Melissa? Don't they say if there's like a weather event that energy jacks everything up in the atmosphere and they feed like real quickly. I mean, they feed off energy, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Right. So if there's lightning and if there's a storm coming in, then the places are likely to be more active.
Yeah, and there were two very brave souls who rented the building out last night for their own little private investigation, and they were there till 3 o'clock by themselves.
Yeah, by
In
themselves.
Besides the owner, because the owner does live in the castle.
Yeah.
So but if someone rents it out privately, she goes and leaves them alone. But yeah, they wanted me to stay for about an hour, and I said, okay, guys, have fun. And I left, and I could kind of see the look on their face as I left, and there's a little bit of uncertainty there.
Brock, our buddy Brock, he says that he believes that they can feel our energy just like we can feel theirs. They use our energy to manifest.
I think that's true. That's why a lot of times your phone will drain, or if you bring something to investigate with, batteries will drain.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, and I'm not a medium. I'm not a psychic. I'm none of those things. But I can feel when the energy shifts in a room.
Yeah.
At the building.
Yeah, there's that house I told you about in St. Louis. It's called the Payne Gentry House. There's a the old spinning wheel that was in the main sitting room. And when you walked around that, I was in the middle of the summer. Now they did have air conditioning in the house. It's like I don't want to say a museum, but it's a historical house. But when you got around that spinning wheel, it was at least 10 degrees colder. You could feel the difference with your hand.
Yeah.
Like a cold spot.
Yeah.
And I could never figure out what, I was in that house maybe twice, and it was always the same way. Everything was fine, but when you went in around that wooden spinning wheel and you would move your hand through, you could feel a temperature variance, which was really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely certain places in the building that feel off is the only way, is something just seems not right about it. Like we had during the military years at the castle, there were prisoners of war sent here during World War II.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 40s, the U.S. military came in and basically told the Knights of Pythian who built it, they said, you have 30 days to get out, and they paid them 50 cents on the dollar for what it was worth in those days. And it became a military base and a hospital.
I should ask you, what are the Knights of Pythian? What is that? Is it like the Knights of Columbus or something?
It's not so much religious. It's their little motto was friendship, charity, benevolence. They called themselves knights because they tried to pass on those knightly ideas out to others, and they tried to, give charity to others and things like that.
Yeah.
And back when it was first built, there were 1,000 members in Springfield alone. And it's still an active organization, but their numbers are, I think there's only 3 states left that have members.
Hoyt's got a serious question for you. He said it's really odd that it's always human spirits. What about animal spirits, like all the deer that you've taken? They should be everywhere.
So this is really funny because we just talked about this on the podcast 2 weeks ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, that's kind of funny. About ghost pet, about animal ghosts, because we were talking about how, well, why don't you ever hear like a dog bark or catch, something? And I was kind of like, well, there is a room in the castle upstairs where people say they feel like a dog or a cat like brushes up against their leg or weaves in between their feet. And I myself, in the basement of my house, I do not think I live in a haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
But probably 2 weeks after my last cat passed away, I was in the basement, and out of the corner of my eye, I just see this little black blob like walk across the basement floor.
Yeah.
And in my mind and my heart went to, that's the ghost of my dead cat. Now, is that realistic thinking? No. But in that moment, I was like, that's my cat. That's my cat walking through the basement.
If you go listen to a couple past shows, last couple weeks, you can hear the same story. And guys, everybody on Facebook Live, I know you heard it because you're watching, but when I bought that house, the inspector and I were downstairs, just us. And the basement was totally unfinished. I'm not going to drag it out like I did before, but we're standing there by the furnace, and all of a sudden we hear, meow. And I said, "Did you hear that?" He goes, "Yeah, it was a cat." And I said, "I don't have a cat." And we looked around; there was no cat in there. And then I remember I told you I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I saw a white cat go into the bathroom that I built. And so I don't know. I haven't seen any deer or turkey spirits chasing me, but I do believe animals. I believe a dog has a soul. There's nobody in this world that's going to convince me that a dog doesn't have a soul, because I mean, they love they're angels, man. And people that have cats, same thing. I mean, they just.
I have both. I have both.
You'll never find more unconditional love than from a pet like that. Yeah. And a horse. Well, I mean, horses are really loving.
Well, they're pretty intelligent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
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 But after she passed away, it was probably a month or 2 that went by that I felt like she jumped on the bed.
Yeah. Now,
and so some people try to say, well, that's just like a comfort, type thing that you're thinking about. And it's like, well, okay, sure, you could go down that road, but is it?
Yeah.
Could it be her, your pet? I mean,
I don't know. But it wouldn't shock me if that's what it was. Yeah. Because I tell you what, when I pass away, after I tell the good man upstairs, thank you for everything they've done for me, and I get to see my dad again and some of my family, I can't wait to see my dogs that have passed, because I miss them every day. Yeah. They're just it's crazy. 7:27 and some change. We're visiting with Melissa from the Midwest Ghost Hunters, and we're talking about Pythian Castle down in Springfield, Missouri. Any other good stories about the castle before we move on to something else?
Well, I was down at the end of the steam tunnel. Going back to the steam tunnel, I was down there with probably 4 or 5 people. And when you get to the very end of the steam tunnel, and you look back towards the entrance, there's a little bit of like weird light play that's down there. And if you look long enough, I mean, your eyes can kind of play tricks on you. But we were standing down there, and we were trying to listen for Mr. Boots to do something. Mm-hmm. And at the end, you could kind of see what looks like someone kind of like peek around the corner, like to look down. And then they stepped back.
Like a shadow figure?
Kind of. But we were, because the tunnel's 240 feet long.
Wow.
So you couldn't really like tell if it was a real person. So I yelled down, hey, there's people down here. Because when you're in the steam tunnel, you can't see the other end.
Wow.
It's pitch black. So I was just like, there's people down here, because I didn't want to scare anyone. And whatever was at the other end of the tunnel, they didn't say anything, but you could see them step into the entrance, and then there's 2 steps you go down. So you saw them step down, and you hear their footsteps walk. And we were like, okay, someone's coming down. So we're sitting there looking, and then you saw another one step into the tunnel and come down.
Did you ever go down there with a FLIR unit or anything to see if their thermals were, if you could see anything like that?
We have brought, what kind of device was it? We've brought the, why can't I spit it out? Like the night vision type thing.
Yeah, like an IR. Yeah.
We brought some of those down there. We didn't have anything down there like that on this particular night, but we saw 5 shadows come down the tunnel that night.
Wow. Has anybody ever just stayed in the tunnel all night to see what they could hear or see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How'd that go?
To me, those people are a little crazy, but you know, whatever. It takes all kinds. If that's what they want to do, perfect. That's not where I like to hang out, because for some reason there's always creepy crawlies and ghosts. It seems like every haunted place I like to go to, there's spiders. And there's spiders in the tunnel, and that's not my cup of tea. So I don't stay down there very long.
I guess not. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hank, it's good to see you. Thank you, buddy. Richard, thank you very much. Yeah, I saw that Chris is watching. That's pretty cool. Ben, thank you. Ben said that it's pretty awesome. So thank you, Ben. We appreciate that. Hey, I tell you what, it's 7:30 and some change. I need to take a real quick break. We'll be right back with Melissa from the Midwest Ghost Hunters, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on haunting-wise in Missouri right here on the Unknown Files show. Melissa, hang on for me, okay?
All right.
We'll be right back after the short break.
Let's talk about a story, an Iowa story about a dream that took several years to come true in Osceola, Iowa. It's the story of Revelton Distilling Company. These fine distilled whiskeys.
Good questions tonight, gang.
Were born from the labor
Good questions.
of Bob and Christina Taylor.
Seems like a nice lady.
It's amazing hearing the customers' descriptions of how unique each bottle looks and how each spirit tastes and satisfies with every sip. From the honey whiskey to the whiskey and cream, or the robust mulberry gin, American gin, or vodkas. Revelton Distilling visitors can't believe the flavor profiles the mixologists are creating at the distillery every day. Revelton Distillery is open Wednesday through Sunday in Osceola. They're located at 1400 West Clay Street, right off I-35. Revelton Distillery fine spirits are also available at your local grocery and other retailers around Iowa. Please check them out online at ReveltonDistillery.com or visit them at the distillery. If it's time to celebrate,
trying to read, Hoyt.
Time to sit back and unwind, well, then it's time for a Revelton moment.
You're heading out on your morning hunt well before sunrise, so you can stay undetected from that giant you've been chasing all season. Wouldn't it be nice to know exactly where your stand or blind location is without letting anyone know where you're at walking in? I don't know, man. I hate spiders, Hoyt. I'd be more apt to the spiders and then a ghost. The ghosts don't bother me. The Onyx Hunt app allows you not only to get from your truck to your hunting spots, it also allows
I can't
you
stand
to mark
spiders,
and save your
man.
parking spots,
I don't like snakes either.
Food plots, rub lines, or
Isn't
some
there a
possible
song
next
about
stand
that?
locations. The Onyx Hunt app is also a great way to see your property and know where you stand. Onyx is a mobile app that you can take anywhere. It's recognized by game wardens all around the country as a valuable hunting tool. So, if you want to always know where you are and have the ability to save information that will help you be a better hunter, go download the Onyx Hunt app at your app store today.
Hey America, when you barbecue, cookies is the one. Lots of flavor, lots of goodness, thick and rich, lots of fun. Hey America, when you barbecue, try Cookies barbecue sauce for a treat. Cookies barbecue sauce is the barbecue sauce America loves to eat.
Heading on your next adventure and looking for some snacks to take? Why not pack a snack that tastes great, gives you protein, and is easy to pack? Have you heard of Soldier Boy beef jerky? Soldier Boy jerky is slow smoked in small batches to ensure generous, tender morsels that taste outstanding. Soldier Boy beef jerky offers the following flavors: sweet heat, original, maple, or peppered flavors that will satisfy you all day in the field. Soldier Boy beef jerky is veteran-owned and proud supporter.
One more and we're back, guys.
The Warrior Foundation. They also donate to troops that are deployed serving our country. So next time you're looking for snacks from home or on your next outdoor adventure, please remember to reach for some Soldier Boy beef jerky, available at Sportsman's Warehouse. Soldier Boy beef jerky, outstanding taste that keeps you satisfied in the field. For more information, please check us out online at www.sbjerky.com.
Heading to your favorite outdoor spot? Is your hunting, fishing, or utility knife ready for any task? Well, if you used the original Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener before you left, you bet they are. The Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener is designed to sharpen every knife you own. By using changeable, flexible abrasive belts, the sharpening system is able to sharpen a variety of knives, including curved and serrated knives, tonto blades, fillet knives, gut hooks, axes, and even kitchen knives. The Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener does this with precision angle sharpening guides and flexible abrasive belts to ensure the proper 20-degree angle every time. Each Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener is assembled in the USA by a family-owned and operated company. Customer service is always a call away. So if you love the outdoors and depend on a sharp knife, consider checking out one of the Work Sharp knife and tool sharpeners or the Work Sharp guided field sharpener at a store near you, or anytime at worksharptools.com. That's worksharptools.com.
All right, welcome back to the Unknown Files show. Tonight we're talking about Ghosts of Missouri. Our guest is Melissa Thurl, and she is with the Midwest Ghost Hunters. Melissa, did I lose you? You still there?
I'm still here.
There you go. Chris just brought up a great point during the break. He always says he apologizes to every animal that he takes so they don't come back and haunt him. You know, Chris, I'll tell you what. I've been bow hunting or hunting 35 years. I don't shoot anything unless my family and I are going to eat it. I just believe, I believe we are stewards of the land, and that's the. But I always say a prayer after I harvest an animal, or I always, I'm thankful for the sacrifice, and that we use everything we can, and I think that's part of the reasons why maybe I haven't had a buck chase me downstairs in a ghost vapor form. But that's a good point, Chris. I'm glad you brought that up. So, Mr. Boots, let me ask you one more question about Mr. Boots. Have you got him on EVP at all?
We have heard, not necessarily, we can't necessarily make out what he's saying, but we've heard voices in there. We've heard him say, the only intelligible thing I've been able to hear him say is hello.
Hello. Gotcha.
Yeah, when we've been down there.
Well, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, now Springfield, folks, for everybody that's watching on the east and west coast, Springfield, Missouri is like around the Ozark area, just a little bit. What would that be, Melissa, from the Ozarks?
It's like southwest Missouri.
Yeah, there you go. So, but there's a lot of history in that corridor. Some of the other places you guys been to?
Excuse me. Well, as far as our group goes, we do a lot of businesses and homes, and we don't charge anyone to do that. But people will reach out and say, hey, something's going on. We want to just have someone come out and tell us that we're not crazy.
Yeah.
We don't get rid of anything.
Right.
We don't, but people want us to come in and say, is this something that we need to be concerned about? Are you seeing the same things that we're seeing? And there's maybe been one or two places that we're like, no, there's nothing. But the other places we've been to, I mean, there's something.
Yeah.
There's a couple things, about a month ago, we did a home in Fair Grove, Missouri. And this lady kept seeing a man walk through her bathroom.
Really? Like a full body thing?
Like a full body, not a shadow. Like she would wake up in the middle of the night and there would be a man walk through her bathroom.
Oh, that's
so we went and we set up a laser grid and a camera behind the laser grid. And about 30 minutes into the investigation, when we're watching the camera, it just looks like this head peeks around the side and breaks the laser. And then it retreats back into the wall.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you video that?
Yeah.
And you got it on video?
Yep.
Now the laser, I mean, you see the full figure, or is it just like a grid on the laser?
So you just see like this black thing break the laser.
Okay.
And you can make out the shape of a head. It looks like it's wearing a hat. We just started calling him the Hat Man because it looks like he's wearing a hat.
Wow.
And right before the head sticks out, it almost looks like an arm kind of sticks out underneath it, and then the head sticks out, and then it retreats.
So is that now? What is that? Is that intelligent or is that a residual?
That's hard to say because she's seen this thing in her home numerous times. But later on in the night, we found out that she had her father's ashes in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were asking questions, and we noticed his name was on the little urn that.
So this is somebody she knew.
Yeah, we think it was her dad.
Her dad.
But
Okay.
we started asking questions. We were like, "Who's here?" And we just started throwing out names. And then we said, "Is Johnny here?" Because Johnny was her dad's name. And about 30 seconds after that, on the EVP recording, we have the whisper Johnny come through.
Wow.
So every once in a while, I feel like we kind of get something that's like, holy moly, that's intelligent and it makes sense.
Gotcha. Rick.
Wow.
Rick said that. Rick, I don't know what that word is. I don't know if it's just misspelled, but it says Arbeca passed a couple years ago, and for months I was seeing him and hearing him around the farm. He went on his way eventually, but there was no doubt we will see him again. So they were having a residual visit at Rick. So
We have another one of those at the castle. There were two individuals that took their own life at the castle. And one gentleman shot himself. And we will see, there's an old movie theater upstairs in the castle. And it was built when the castle was built. They built a movie theater in it. Mm-hmm. And from October to January, we will see a shadow of a man on a certain wall in the theater. And then after January, we don't see that shadow anymore. And around January 23rd is when this gentleman ended his life. And before, when the theater wasn't being used for movies, it was used for church services.
Really?
So some people seem to think he might have been going in there to pray on the months leading up to his death. And then that's why we don't see him anymore. So some people think there's just this weird residual energy for a couple months. And then when he takes his life, his energy disappears.
Okay, Rick said that the what he keeps seeing and hearing around the farm, they had a French farm dog. It was one of their dogs.
Oh.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate that, buddy. And thanks for clarifying that. So, well, I mean, you've been doing this at the Pythian for how many years now?
I've been a guide there for 5 years.
So for 5 years, that shows up every January.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like you see him on a wall, but does he move back and forth, or you just see a shadow?
I just see a shadow. And then there's a room on the opposite side of the theater. It's a bedroom. In fact, when the owner is gone, the guides stay the night at the castle. Kind of like for security, because people are curious. People will trespass and just walk on up, and stick their noses in. And so there's always somebody there. And that same room where we stay, people have done EVP sessions and have talked to, conversated, whatever, with the gentleman that we think committed suicide. Mm-hmm. A lot of people like to use dowsing rods. I'll use dowsing rods every once in a while because I know myself and I know I'm not going to create an answer to fit my agenda. Some people can manipulate those things to create their own answers.
Gotcha.
And, you got to be careful. Same thing with the pendulum. People that use pendulums, you can manipulate that to create whatever scenario you want. But we've had conversations with him.
So, have you guys done anything with the ghost lights? Are you guys? I've been trying to find any research. You know what I'm talking about in Missouri. They're the famous. They're like the spook light on the railroad
in Joplin.
Yeah, have you done that?
I've seen it. I've been down to see it, but you can't get up to it.
So you actually seen it?
Yeah, but it'll move. it's the road you go down. It used to be a dirt road, and they've paved it, but it goes down and it turns to the left, and then there's just a bunch of woods back there, and you can see the light way off in the woods. But when someone tries to get up close to it, it moves. No one's ever been able to get up onto it. And they've actually taken like scientific teams out to study the light because it's been documented for over 100 years.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's famous. I mean, that's been around forever. Have you know with drone technology and stuff, Melissa? Has anybody tried to take a drone and follow it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be. If I was close, that's what I'd be doing.
People have gone out and like tried to see if it was some type of like, I hate to say swamp gas, but something like that could create a light.
Yep.
Out in the woods.
Yep.
Some people have said they think it's something Native American, a spirit. Other people say it's just light from another road.
Well, see, I've heard it was gas. I've heard it was the lights reflecting from a highway close by. Yeah. But I think that I don't think they've ever been able to prove any of that, right?
Not that I know of. I mean, the 2 times I saw it, it changes colors. Mm-hmm. It changed from blue to red. And I've seen it split. I've seen it go, you'll just see it hovering, and then they'll go opposite directions. It'll split into 2 little balls, and they'll go opposite directions.
Now, see, I hadn't heard that. It actually splits.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah,
so it does something different every time. So
that's not gas, then. Gas isn't going to split.
And somebody else said, well, is it a UFO? And I was like, well, maybe. I don't have a whole lot of interest in aliens and UFOs. That's just me. Yeah. But, I mean, could it be something else like that? I don't know. I'm talking about ghosts for crying out loud. Maybe it is an alien. Who knows?
Well, there are. I mean, I believe. Listen, I the Native Americans thing, the side of it and stuff. I believe that. I mean, a lot of their burial sites and stuff. I mean, that was holy ground. And there's a lot of things. I've seen some stuff in and around the Cahokia Mounds. When I went out there one time with a friend of mine, and we saw, I don't know what it was. It was like like flashes, like lightning, but there was no lightning, and it wasn't hot enough to do heat lightning. You know how sometimes you'll get real hot and humid.
Oh yeah.
And you'll get that heat lightning, but it wasn't wasn't hot enough for that. So I never seen anything else or heard about that, but I tend to believe in the spiritual side of if you're in and around a Native American site, I believe in that. So
yeah,
that's crazy. What's one of your favorite places you've been besides the Pythian?
Waverly Hills.
Waverly Hills. Now where's that? Where's that? That's the sanitarium, right?
Yeah.
Where's that?
In Louisville, Kentucky, right outside of Louisville.
Yeah. Now, did you do the ball trick there?
Yes, we actually bought one and brought it.
You did? Did it work?
Yeah. I didn't see ours move, but there were probably 20 of them on that floor.
Now, hey, speaking of tunnels, like at the Pythian, did you go down into the tunnels of Waverly?
The body chute?
The body chute.
Did.
Yeah. Now
Now
how was that? Because that's where they used to take all the poor people that passed from tuberculosis.
It's worse than the tunnel at Pythian.
Oh, I would imagine because it's longer, right?
It originally I think was 500 feet, and then it's been shortened I think to like 3 or 4 something. But you gotta going down it. It's not that bad, but taking those stairs back up. They're like at a weird angle. Uh-huh. So it feels like you're a lot more winded coming out of that place. I've seen a blue light dancing in the middle of it.
Inside?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's no windows in the body chute. There's no way for light to come from the outside into the body chute.
Oh, you saw that in the tunnel. Yeah, in the chute. Really?
Yeah. We were down at the very, very bottom, and we kind of have this feeling like we need to leave. And we turned, and we started going up a couple steps, and we just kind of saw this like little blue light. And I've seen the same blue light numerous places. I call it paranormal blue because it's always the same blue color. Huh. But we saw it just hanging out in the middle, and I looked at my friend Courtney, and I was like, we got to go up there. We got to go past that. So we just kind of grinned and bared it and went on up.
Is that still where is all the windows and everything broken out of that thing still?
Yeah.
Okay, so they haven't fixed it up or anything.
They only have windows like on the first floor.
Okay.
There's been a lot of controversy there at Waverly over the past couple of years.
Well, no, that thing's been on TV and everything for years.
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually seen 2 or 3 programs just on that.
It's an amazing building. It has a lot of neat history there as well. And going back to animal ghosts.
Yeah.
So there was a story back when it was abandoned, before the current owners had it. There was a homeless man and his dog who kind of took up residence in the building, and security would let him stay there because he didn't cause a problem. And I guess one night some people broke into the building, and his room was right next to an elevator shaft. And they took him and his dog and they threw him down the elevator shaft, and they died.
Who threw him down?
People that just broke in.
Oh, that's horrible.
But people still see the dog walking on that floor. I want to say it's the 3rd floor.
Wow.
But people will see the dog walk up and down the hall.
And that's documented. That really you could see where that really happened. It's just not a story.
No, that really happened.
That really happened.
He has a name, and I can't remember what his name is, but I don't know that they ever retrieved his body from the bottom of the elevator shaft.
So it's still down there.
I think. I have not heard of them retrieving it when it happened. I think they just left him down there.
That's really sad.
But yeah, I mean, and he had a German Shepherd. It was I think they even said it was a white German Shepherd, which is kind of funny because I have a white German Shepherd.
Yeah.
But people will see the dog walk up and down the hallway.
Wow. Well, that's see, and I quit watching those shows probably 3 or 4 years ago, because I mean I do TV for a living. I can tell when stuff's scripted and when it's not. And the cutaways, you can tell when the cutaways are that's creative editing and stuff.
Yeah, we've had a lot of groups come to the building, to the castle,
to the Pythian.
To Pythian.
Yeah.
Ghost Adventures came. Ghost Adventures is a huge show.
Yeah.
And it's all for entertainment value, because while their episode did catch some things that we do have happen, whistling, humming, singing throughout the building, that happens. We've heard children giggling. 2 little girls will giggle on the tour sometimes, and will follow the tour group and laugh throughout the tour. Those things happen, and they did document some of that stuff. But what I didn't like that they did, and of course I know it's for ratings, get it, they took a story from one of our tour guides, and her and her brother stayed the night. They were castle sitting, and she had this really bad dream. Something bad was going to happen to her brother that night.
Yeah.
She didn't say anything about it. 2 weeks later, her brother ended up passing away.
Oh, that's awful.
Ghost Adventures, when they came and filmed, they took that story and they twisted it and said that a demon at the castle caused her brother's death.
Nice.
Now, that is something I'm not okay with.
No.
That you're going to, as soon as I saw the episode, I was kind of like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Brock has a paranormal group on the East Coast, and he says that's why he live streams all his stuff. It's raw and it's real.
Yeah, and we've had a bunch of YouTubers come. One YouTube group was kind of ridiculous. The other YouTube group, they came, and while they're kind of a bunch of funny guys, their episode, they did not fake one single thing.
That's good.
We went out to investigate the little boy's room, and it was quiet. Nothing happened. They didn't add anything. They didn't try to make it more exciting. They aired it how it happened, and I have respect for those people.
We got about 7 minutes left, Melissa. Have you been to the prison in Jeff City?
No. It's so embarrassing. I've been to all these other plaplaces, and I haven't been to the...
I was just asking. I've got a couple of friends of mine that went out there. They're just enthusiasts. They like the genre, and they said that is one of the creepiest places they've ever been.
I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've heard that. Yeah. I would like to go. I don't know why I haven't made it up there.
Well, you guys are going to have to go do an investigation there.
I guess we are.
Yeah.
I guess we're just gonna have to bite the bullet and go.
Bite the bullet. Get you some ribs and go.
There you go. There you go.
Well, that's exciting. So now, and I appreciate the fact. I mean, what do you tell before we get out of here tonight? When a business calls you and said, "Listen, we got stuff going on. We just can't explain. We're seeing stuff on the cameras. It's starting to freak our employees out." You guys come in there and you do an investigation. I mean, do you just go over what you find, and then if you do see something or hear something, what do you do to comfort them?
Most of the places we have been to, it's not so much that they're afraid, it's that they want validation that someone else is seeing these things, that it's not just in their head, that they're not crazy. Most of the people around here just want that validation that yes, something is happening. You know, the only situation we've run into, and I was not present with the group during these investigations, but there was a home in Willard, Missouri, and this lady called and wanted us to come out. So the guys went out, nothing happened. She said, I keep hearing this, you know, there's something going on in my son's room or my grandson's room, you know, and they went out, nothing happened. She called him out again 2 weeks later. You got to come back out. More stuff's happening. They went back out. Some things happened. Called them out a third time. They went out a third time. Something ran down the hallway at them. Something knocked all their equipment over. It was enough to make them run out of the house. When we went back through the footage and the audio, we found an audio recording, and it says "burn in hell."
Really?
2 weeks, and Chris, our main guy, called the homeowner and was like, "Look, we don't think you should go back in the home."
Well, did you?
2 weeks.
Go
two
ahead.
weeks later. 2 weeks later, the house caught on fire and burned down with the people inside of it. They had to jump out of the second-story window.
They made it though?
They made it.
Yeah.
But there was something bad in that house, and I don't say that lightly.
No,
there was something bad in that house.
Yeah, I'd be having my my pastor come over for sure and do.
Yeah,
and
but
do
you know, that's one of those instances where people come out and nothing happens, and then it's like everything breaks loose.
Yeah.
And you know, what do you tell those people? Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. Something like that is hard to do.
Rick he said he's not too far from you guys, and he wants to come and check it out. He wants to know, do you have to have any worries about anything following you home? The wife wants to know.
No. No, you don't.
Okay, what's the best, if someone wants to come and stay at the castle or do a tour, what's the best way for them to do it, Melissa?
You can go to pythiancastle.com, and we have history tours, we have ghost tours, and then you have the option to rent it out privately if you would like to. There's a couple different options for that. I believe there's also a link from the Facebook page that you can go to as well that will bring you to all that. If you want to see me personally, I do Tuesday night tours.
Tuesday nights
and Friday nights.
Tuesday and Fridays with Melissa.
Yep.
Anita Joe said Ghost Adventure Show is a joke.
You know.
Yeah, that's all right.
But I get it. People like it for the entertainment value. I get it. It's just, it hits different when they come investigate a place you work at and you can point out all the baloney.
Yeah, no, I get it. If folks want more information about Midwest Ghost Hunters, what's the best way to get a hold of you or check it out?
They can go to mwghosthunters.com. All of our pictures, bios are on there. We have all of our investigation stuff on there from different houses. The Willard House investigations on there. And there's Pythian Castle stuff on there too. There's pictures and stuff that we've caught there. So it's all on the website.
There you go. All right, Melissa, it's been an honor. Can we get you back on? Do me a favor, when you guys go doing another investigation, or if you got something going on, will you get a hold of me? I'd love to have you back on the program.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you would like to chat, I'm always up for talking about ghost stuff.
All right, there you go. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
There she goes. There goes Melissa. All right, that is, man, I tell you what, that hour went quick. It always does. I thank you so much for watching on Facebook Live, and thank you for listening on the network. This really is a fun program for me to do. If you've missed any of the shows, you've got two things you can do. I just uploaded all the episodes on the Outdoor Call Radio app, the outdoorcallradio.com on the website. You can go and look under archive. It's like the third page down. You just scroll down and hit that. And I've got all of our live shows archived. I just uploaded 9 of the Unknown Files show. So you can go catch up all the programs. You can also go to our YouTube page, which is the Outdoor Call Radio, and you can watch the video here like we're filming tonight. So there you go. Another fun evening. Hey, we've got, if you like the Amityville Horror or The Conjuring, we're going to have John Zaffis on from the Haunted Collector Show. Just booked John a couple days ago. He's going to be on May 25th, so that's going to be an exciting program to get to hear what really happened when all that stuff was really going on. So that's going to be a fun show. So put that on your calendar, May 25th. All right, I'm out of here. Have a great night. Be good to one another, and we will talk with you again on Saturday. If you need anything, let me know, and please tell everybody about the show and the Outdoor Call Radio app. Get them to download and listen. We always appreciate that. And until next time, good night. See you, everybody.